reproduction in branchiostoma. Reproduction in the branchiostoma actually will include the gonads. Now, you all know actually the reproductive system of the branchiostoma is very, very simple compared to the more advanced vertebrates. Now, here the sexual dimorphism is seen where both the male and the female individuals actually are present, and both of them, that is male and female individuals, they look identical. Now, coming to the gonads, now it has got both male as well as the female gonads. Now, it possesses paired gonads. The paired gonads are the primary reproductive organs, and these gonads actually produce the gametes, that is eggs as well as the sperms. So in the males, the gonads actually are called as the testes, whereas in the females, they are called as the ovaries. And these gonads are located within the coelom. Coelom is nothing but the body cavity nearer to the pharynx in the posterior region of the body. So the gonads of the branchiostoma or the gonads of the amphioxus, now we can say reproduction in branchiostoma or the reproduction in amphioxus or the lancelet is very, very simple compared to the higher vertebrates, and they show or they exhibit sexual dimorphism where both male and the female individuals actually are present, separate individuals are present, and they look identical. And here they possess the paired gonads, and these gonads actually are located near the pharynx region in the posterior region of the body. So in males, the gonads actually are called as the testes, whereas in the females are called as the ovaries. Now, next is, now this is the typical structure. If you see the mature gonad, vertical section of the mature gonad. So now this is the secondary gonadal cavity, and this is actually the atrial cavity. You have anterior cardinal vein, and this is anterior. Here the germ cells are being present. So this is a primary gonadal cavity, and this is the secondary gonadal cavity, and the blood space is there, and this is the space is there. Okay, so this is how the structure will look like. Now, the adult lanceolate or the adult amphioxus actually bears 26 to 27 pairs of similar gonads. Now, here both the male and the female gonads are similar, and they are arranged metamerically in 2 rows. One pair actually is present in each segment, starting from the 25th segment to the 51 segment. And these gonads actually are situated ventrolaterally from the middle of the pharyngeal region up to the atriophore. And they're clearly visible through the transparent body, because here the body of the amphioxus, you all know, actually is very, very transparent. So these gonads can be clearly visible. You can easily, see the gonads through the transparent body wall arranged in a linear series on either ventrolateral side beneath the myotomes. And the gonads actually are very, very simple. They are hollow, mesodermal in origin, and they bulge into the atrial cavity. And they are covered on the outer side of the body wall and on the inner side by the atrial epithelium. So these gonads actually are covered externally, means on the outer side by means of the body wall, whereas internally, that is the inner side of this gonads actually is being lined by the atrial epithelium. Now, each gonad actually contains an outer secondary gonadal cavity, or called as a gonocele, and an inner primary gonadal cavity surrounding a group of germ cells which arise from its wall. So we can say that actually the gonads consist of an outer gonadal cavity, which is commonly called as the gonocele, and it has an inner primary gonadal cavity which actually encloses a group of the germ cells. So that is the typical structure of the gonads. So the gonads, how many? Each adult amphioxus, we can say, actually consists of 26 to 27 pairs of the similar gonads, and they are arranged metamerically, and starting from the 25th segment to 51 segment, and they are situated ventrolaterally, and they are clearly visible because here the body wall of the amphioxus is very, very transparent, so you can easily visualize them because of the transparent body wall, we can say. And each gonad actually is being bounded on the outer side by the body wall and the inner side by the atrial epithelium, and it possesses an outer secondary gonadal cavity called as a gonocele and an inner gonadal cavity which actually encloses a group of germ cells. Now, the germ cells actually are the precursor cells which will give rise to the gametes. Now, germ cells means here both male and the female. So here they give rise to what? They are called as actually the precursor cells, and they give rise to the gametes. Now, these cells actually undergo a process called as gametogenesis. So you all know actually the gametogenesis is nothing but the formation of the gametes. So these gametes undergo the gametogenesis phenomena and within the gonads to produce the matured sperm as well as the eggs. Now in the males, the spermatogenesis occurs within the testis, resulting in the production of the sperm cells. Whereas in the females, the oogenesis will take place within the ovaries and it will lead to the formation of the egg cells. Now the mature ovaries, or you can say as well as the testis, they are identified only in the sections because of the different structure of the spermatozoma and the ova they contain. But externally, they look alike. So only unless and until you take a section, you cannot identify them. So they can be easily identified in the sections because of the different structure of the spermatozoa as well as the ova. Now, if they say a testis actually presents a streaky appearance due to the presence of the spermatozoa and the mature sperm of this branchiostome or the amphioxus, the one of the smallest among the chordates. So actually the sperm is very small, very small in case of the amphioxus. And it is also one of the smallest among the chordates. So if you look at all the chordate sperms, the sperm of these branchiostoma actually is very simple, and it is also very small in size. They say about 18 microns in length, and it consists of the usual nucleated head with the acrosome. They consist of a nucleated head with an acrosome. This is how. See, this is the unfertilized ovum, and this is the sperm. Where you have an acrosome, head is there a neck or a middle piece is there. So actually, basically, if you see the structure of a sperm, they say that it consists of 3 regions. One is called as acrosome, then you have got the middle piece, and then you have got a tail. So actually head we can say. So head, a middle piece and a tail. But the head actually bears at its terminal portion an opening which is called as an acrosome. And between the head and the middle piece, you have got a small neck. And you have got the tail or the flagellum. So this is the basic structure of any sperm. If you take, this is the basic structure of a sperm. Next, so it consists of what? It consists of an acrosome, and the acrosome actually is located in the head region. A middle piece is there and a long tail is there. And the ovary will contains the ova, which are very large and somewhat rounded cells, each one measuring about 0.1 mm in diameter and having a larger nucleus. And having a larger nucleus, and they are microlethal or poor in yolk content. Microlethal in the sense that they have the micromeres are present, and the yolk content is very less. So that is why they are called as a microlethal. So we have seen the sperm now. Sperms are very small, and they are the smallest among the chordates. Whereas when we talk about the ovary, now the ovary will contain the ova. They are somewhat larger when compared to that of the sperms, and they are rounded structure, and they have possess a large nucleus. And they are microlethal in nature. That means they have very less content of the yolk. Now, the gonoducts are absent in this. The gonoducts are absent in the amphioxus. Now, the mature gametes actually, when once they mature, they are discharged into the atrium by rupture or the dehiscence of the gonadal wall along certain weaker spots called as the cicatrices, which afterwards will close. And the gametes so formed, they will be liberated. They escape through the atriopore with the outgoing water current. So that is how actually when once the gametes are developed, then what happens is through the atriopore actually they will escape out into the water current. So that is how the formation of the gamete will take place. Both the gametes, that is the sperms as well as the ova, are being formed. And when once they are fully developed, they are liberated out and they escape through the atriopore with the help of the outgoing water current. Now coming to the gamete release. Now, during the breeding season, what happens is the mature sperm as well as the eggs, they are released into the surrounding water. And each amphioxus individual has 1 or 2 genital pores through which actually the gametes are being discharged. So each organism, that is each animal, that is amphioxus animal, will have only 1 or 2 genital pores. And through these genital pores only, the gametes actually are being discharged. And the release of the gametes actually is often synchronized with the environmental clues, such as changes in the temperature or daylight duration. So these gametes actually are, they have an impact on the environment. So only when there is a change in a temperature or only when there is a daylight, the daytime, during the daytime, we can say these gametes are being released. That is both sperms as well as the ova. So when once they are released, both of them will come close together, they fuse and they fertilize and they form a zygote. The next stage is fertilization. Now, fertilization in amphioxus actually is external, that is, it takes place in water. occurring outside the body in the aquatic environment. And the sperms released by the males, it swim actively towards the eggs, which is being released by the females. And upon encountering an egg, the sperm cells will penetrate the egg membrane. So what happens is, since they are aquatic, both the gametes are being released into the water, that is in the aquatic environment. The sperms actually will swim actively towards the eggs, which is being released by the females. And once the sperms go nearer to the egg, the sperm cells will try to penetrate the egg membrane, resulting in fertilization. Then once the fertilization takes place, the formation of the you can say zygote or the fertilized egg will be formed. That is, a fertilized egg or the zygote will develop later into a free swimming larva through subsequent embryonic developmental stages. So that is how actually the fertilization will take place. The next is what? Larval development. So the zygote actually will undergo, it will metamorphose into a free swimming larval stage, and through subsequent development, embryonic development, again it will attain the adult stage. Now we'll see how actually the larva will get transformed into the adult. Now the fertilized egg will develop into a free swimming larva known as the leptocaudate larva. So the larva of Amphioxus actually, since it comes under leptocardiae class, so it is called as leptocaudate larva. So it will develop into a free swimming larva, which is called as a leptocaudate larva. And this larva possesses characteristic caudate features, including a notochord, a dorsal tubular nerve cord, and the pharyngeal gill slits. You all know actually when I talked about the Amphioxus general characters, I told you actually the larval stage is very, very active, whereas the adult stage actually is sedentary. It is solitary. So here the larval stage will possess all the caudate characters like presence of a notochord, dorsal tubular nerve cord, as well as the pharyngeal gill slits. So that is why the larva possesses all these things. And this leptocaudate larva also is transparent, and it will undergo a brief period of swimming in the water column. And after swimming for a period, then the larva will settle down on the ocean floor and undergoes metamorphosis into a juvenile Amphioxus. So that is how the fertilization, we can say, or the reproduction in case of Amphioxus will take place. So we can say reproduction in Amphioxus is very, very simple. It is very simple. It is not that much advanced when compared to that of the other chordates. Here the fertilization is external. Before it undergoes fertilization, actually the gametes are being released. So it has got the gonads. Gonads actually are located in the pharyngeal region, and these gonads are nothing but in the form of the testis as well as the ovaries. The testis actually the testes will produce the sperms with the help of the spermatogenesis, and the ovary will produce ova with the help of oogenesis. And once they are being fully formed, then they are released into the water current through the atriopore. They will get released into the water body, and once they are released into the water, the sperm actually will swim actively towards the egg. And once it approaches the egg, it will penetrate into the egg wall, that is through the egg membrane. It will penetrate inside the egg, and once it penetrates inside the egg nucleus as well as the sperm nucleus, they will fuse and they form a fertilized egg, which we call it as nothing but the zygote. Now this zygote undergoes metamorphosis and it will develop into a larva. That larva we call it as leptocaudate larva, and this leptocaudate larva possesses all the the characteristic features of caudate, that is presence of a notochord, dorsal tubular nerve cord, as well as the pharyngeal gill slits. And this larva will swim for a brief period. After swimming for a brief period of time, again it will undergo metamorphosis and it will transform into a juvenile organism that is nothing but the Amphioxus. So this is how we can say reproduction in the branchiostoma will take place. Okay. Now this is all about Amphioxus. So now we have seen about the Amphioxus, that is also called as the lancelet. Now we have completed with the external morphology, the different systems, as well as the reproduction. Okay, now we will switch to the other topic. That is, we will now go to the general characters as well as the classification of the fishes. Okay, now we will talk about the general classes, characters of the fishes. Now coming to the general characters of the fish, that is also called as the Pisces, you all know. So the Pisces, the superclass Pisces, Pisces meaning fish. So actually it has been derived from a Latin word, Pisces meaning fish. So they are actually the truly jawed vertebrates. They are truly jawed vertebrates, and they have the organs of respiration as well as the locomotion related to the permanently aquatic life. Now, you all know actually when we talk about the vertebrata are classified into the, what do you say, the Pisces. Pisces are grouped under totally they are aquatic, whereas others are tetrapods. Now, tetrapods includes the 4 different other, what do you say, superclasses, like you have the amphibians, reptiles, aves, as well as the mammals. Whereas the superclass Pisces are included separately, or they are grouped separately. Why? Because they are totally aquatic, or you can say they are exclusively aquatic. They have got the fins, they have got the scales, and these fins actually help them in the locomotion as well. And also they have got the gills, which help in them in respiration in the water body. So that is why the Pisces are totally a different class. So that is why they are truly jawed vertebrates, and they are the first vertebrates to have the jaws, and they possess the organs of respiration in the form of gills, and the locomotion. They have got the fins, and these fins actually help them in the locomotion. So these two structures actually are related to a permanently aquatic life. So that is why they are not what do you say, terrestrial, but they are totally aquatic. You can say they are exclusively aquatic, okay, when compared to that of the other vertebrates. So that is why they have been grouped into a separate superclass. Okay. Now here the respiratory organs are nothing but the gills, and the organs of locomotion are the fins. And these fins may be paid or they may be unpaid. And all of these actually are poikiloderms. They are poikiloderms. That means they are cold-blooded. They are all cold-blooded animals. Now, coming to the general characters, now you all know actually the fishes, they are totally aquatic. They are exclusively aquatic, just now I've told you, and they may be either freshwater or they may be either marine. So freshwater, they may live either in the freshwater or they may live either in the marine, that is seas, oceans, and all those things. So they are found everywhere, and they may be herbivorous, feeding only on the herbs, and they may be carnivorous, feeding on the small, what do you say, insects, small insect larvae, as well as the small fishes. Okay. And they are totally cold-blooded, oviparous or ovoviviparous vertebrates. Oviparous or ovoviviparous vertebrates. And here the body is streamlined. The body is always streamlined, and they are spindle shaped. Some of them are elongated and they like snake like they are, and few of them are dorsoventrally compressed, and the body is divisible into head, trunk, as well as the tail. The body is divisible into the trunk, head, trunk, as the tail. And the locomotion actually occurs by means of the fins, and these fins may be paid or it may be unpaid. They say the pectoral, that is the paid pectoral, and the pelvic fins. So pectoral fins are paid, even the pelvic fins are paid. Pelvic fins are also called as ventral fins, along with the median dorsal and the caudal fin. So here they have got different types of fins. You all know. So they have got pectoral fin, pelvic fins, which are also called as ventral fins. Then anal fins are there. Then dorsal fins are there. Caudal fins are there. So like this, they have about 5 types of fins are there. All these fins actually, in some way or other, they help in the locomotion. And these fins actually are being supported by means of fin rays. So if you look at the fin, if you happen to take see a fish, and if you try to take a fin and try to stretch that fin, each fin actually will possess the sting-like structures inside. So they are very hard, sharp. They are very hard, and they are very sharp and pointed. And these are called as nothing but the fin rays. They are called as the fin rays, and they are dermal in nature. That is, they are present only dermally, not inside. So they are called as the fin rays. So each fin, whether it is an anal fin or a caudal fin or a dorsal fin or whatever type of fin you take, if you just try to stretch the fin, each fin actually is being supported by means of the fin rays. Then muscular tail is also present, and this muscular tail actually helps. This tail only will actually will get what do you say, modified into the caudal fin. So the muscular tail actually help in the propulsion. It is used in the propulsion. Now next is what? Exoskeleton. Now the exoskeleton of the fishes actually consists of dermal scales, dentricles, or the bony plates, which are present in the placodermi, covering the whole body surface. Now, the exoskeleton of the fishes possess what? Dermal scales, either dentricles or the bony plates. In case of placodermi, they cover the whole body surface. And these scales again are of different types. You have different types of scales. You have ganoid scales, cycloid scales, then placoid scales, cosmoid scales, and rhomboid scales. About 5 types of scales are being present. And they say the placoid scales are found in chondric thighs. And ganoid, cycloid, or ctenoid actually are present in the ostic thighs. Now, basically, the fishes, they have classified into 2 types, that is the chondric thighs as well as ostic thighs. Chondric thighs actually are called as cartilaginous fishes. Here, the body is made up of cartilage totally, whereas the ostic thighs actually are bones. Here, you find the bones, whereas in the chondric thighs, they are called cartilaginous fishes. Most of the body part is made of cartilage, whereas in case of ostic thighs, it is made up of bone. So that is why they are called as the ostic thighs. And chondric thighs actually are made up of cartilage. So that is why they are called as the chondric thighs are the cartilaginous fishes. So you find the placoid scales in the chondric thighs, whereas the ganoid, cycloid, or the ctenoid type of scales are found in the ostic thighs fishes. Okay. Next, endoskeleton is cartilaginous or bony. Just now I have told you, so the endoskeleton in cartilaginous fishes, that is in the chondric thighs, it is cartilaginous, whereas in case of ostic thighs, it is bony. Now, coming to the notochord, the notochord is actually being replaced by vertebrae. The notochord is being replaced by vertebrae, and these vertebrae may be either made up of bone or either made up of cartilage, depending upon the type of fish. The next, you have the presence of well-developed skull and a system of visceral arches, of which the first pair forms the upper and the lower jaw. The latter forms is being articulated with the skull. Now, here the fishes actually possess a well-developed skull, and apart from the skull, it also possesses the visceral arches. And these visceral arches, number of visceral arches are there. Several pairs of visceral arches are there, about 6 to 7 pairs of visceral arches, of which the first pair of visceral arch will form the upper as well as the lower jaw. The first visceral arch will form the first pair. First pair forms the upper and the lower jaw, whereas the latter visceral arches, lateral pairs of visceral arches, they will be articulated with the skull. So that is about the endoskeleton. Now, coming to the muscles. Now, the muscles of fishes, they are actually arranged into segments which are called as myotomes. They are called as the myotomes, and these myotomes actually are being separated, or they are present with separate dorsal and the ventral parts. So, muscles are arranged into segments called as the myotomes with separate dorsal as well as the ventral parts. Okay. The next is what? Alimentary canal. Now, the alimentary canal is present with a definite stomach and pancreas, and also terminates into the cloaca or the anus. So, the alimentary canal of fishes actually is definite. So, it has a well-defined, the alimentary canal, and the stomach is well-defined. It also possesses the pancreas, and it will end, or it will terminate into the the cloaca or the anus. You all know actually the different parts of the alimentary canal, starting from the mouth. So mouth will actually mouth will lead into buccal cavity. Then the buccal cavity will lead into the pharynx, then esophagus. After esophagus, you have got the stomach, and then after stomach, then you have got intestine. That intestine actually will terminate into the cloaca or the anus. So that is actually the a plan of the alimentary canal, a general basic plan of the alimentary canal. So here they say the stomach of the fishes is definite, means it is well defined, and the pancreas is also well developed. Okay, apart from that, it has also got the liver and other accessory glands are also being present. Now, coming to the organs of respiration. Now, the main organs of respiration in case of fishes are gills, and these gills actually the gill slits. So about 5 to 6 pairs of gill slits are being present. 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits are being present, and these gill slits actually are present just beneath the operculum. So if you happen to see a fish, now if you just lift the operculum, attached to the operculum, you have got the gill slits are there. So about 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits are present, and these gill slits, they may be naked or they may be covered by an operculum. They may be covered by. So from these gill slits only, the gills will come. So gill slits actually will possess the gills. The next is what? Heart. Now heart is venous, that is the venous blood will flow in the heart, and heart is two-chambered. So the heart of fishes actually is two-chambered, consisting of only one auricle and one ventricle. It consists of only one auricle and one ventricle, and here it has sinus venosus, and renal and portal systems are also present. And the erythrocytes actually are nucleated, and erythrocytes are nucleated. So that is how the what do you say, circulatory system is. So in case of circulatory system, we can say the heart is present, and it is a two-chambered heart consisting of only one auricle and one ventricle. And sinus venosus heart has one sinus venosus. Apart from that, it also exhibits the renal as well as the portal systems, and the erythrocytes are nucleated. Now, kidneys, the kidneys are mesonephros. The kidneys are mesonephros, and the excretion is ureotelic, and the excretion is by ureotelic, okay, or urea. So that is why they are called as ureotelic animals. And here, again, organs of respiration, again, has been repeated. The next is what? The kidneys are mesonephros. Then the brain. Now, the brain actually consists of five parts. Five parts, like you have forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. Apart from that, it also has the cranial nerves, and here the characteristic feature of again the fishes is the presence of 10 pairs of cranial nerves. It possesses 10 pairs of cranial nerves. The next, it has got nostrils, and these nostrils are paid. The nostrils are paid, but they do not open into the pharynx, except the dipnoi fishes. Now, they say that it has got the nostrils, but these nostrils do not open into the pharynx but in dipnoi fishes, they will open into the pharynx. You all know dipnoi are nothing but the lung fishes. So basically, the organs of respiration in case of fishes are gills, but in dipnoi, that is commonly called as lung fishes, they possess lungs. That is, they also respire through the lungs. So that is why they are called as the lung fishes. Okay. Then nasal capsules are partly separate in the chondric thighs, and they are completely separated in case of ostic thighs. Then next, the tympanic cavity as well as the ear ossicles are absent, whereas it possesses the internal ear with three semicircular canals. It possesses the internal ear with three semicircular canals. Then the lateral line system is well developed. It possesses the lateral line system, which is well developed. The sexes are separate. The gonads are separate. The gonads are paired, and the gonads possess the gonoducts, and these gonoducts open into the cloaca, or it may open independently. Then fertilization actually is maybe either internal or I may be external. Only in few cases it is internal, but majority actually 99% it is external, because since fishes live in water, both the sperms as well as the ova are released in the water, where actually they fertilize and they form a zygote and develop into the adult stage. Now, females of chondric thighs are oviparous or ovoviviparous, whereas ostic thighs are oviparous, and they are rarely ovoviviparous or viviparous. And the eggs are present with large amount of yolk. They possess the eggs with large amount of yolk, and the cleavage is meroblastic cleavage. The cleavage is a meroblastic cleavage, and they possess the extra embryonic membranes. The extra embryonic membranes are absent. They are totally absent. Now, you know what are the extra embryonic membranes? Like you have chorion, allantois, all these things. Okay. So here, in case of fishes, the extra embryonic membranes are totally absent. Okay. Now we'll see again. We'll see these are the general characters of fishes. Now we will talk about the classification of fishes. Coming to the classification. Okay. Now, coming to the classification of fishes. Now, you all know the classification of characteristics of fishes. Just now we have seen. Now we will go to the classification of fishes. Now, fishes, if you see the systematic position of the fishes, it is included under Chordata, phylum Chordata, group Craniata, subphylum Vertebrata, division is Gnathostomata, and the superclass is Pisces. Okay, so Craniata, already in the first class I have talked about Craniata and Acraniata and Craniata. Acraniata will include all protochordates where they lack the cranium, but Craniata actually are the true vertebrates, and they possess actually the cranium. Cranium is nothing but a brain box in which the brain is being enclosed. Then subphylum actually is Vertebrata. Under Vertebrata, again, you have two divisions. One is called as Gnathostomata, and the Agnatha, and the other one is Gnathostomata. Now, coming to the Agnatha includes the cyclostome fishes, whereas Gnathostomata actually will include the jaws. So, Agnatha means without the jaws, whereas Gnathostomata means presence of jaws. So, in the Gnathostomata, you have two what do you say, the superclasses. One superclass you call it as the Pisces, and the other superclasses you call it as nothing but Tetrapoda. Pisces are nothing but the fishes, and the Tetrapoda includes the amphibians, reptiles, apes, and mammals. So that is actually a general plan or the classification of the chordates. Now coming to the superclass Pisces, now we will see the characteristic feature. Already we know the Pisces, they have got the fins. That is, the fins are either paid or unpaid, and they have got the gills, and the skin is present with the dermal scale. So these are the three characteristic features of any fish if you take. Now the superclass Pisces is divided into two classes. Class 1 is called as chondric thighs, and class 2 is called as ostick thighs. Now we'll see one by one the two different types of classes and how they are being classified further. Now coming to the class 1, that is chondric thighs. Now here the chondric thighs, as already I have mentioned, it includes the cartilaginous fishes, and they have got the placoid scales, and they have got the mouth, and two nostrils are being present, and they are located on the ventral side, and the males are present with claspers. The males have got the claspers. So this is the characteristic feature of chondric thighs fishes. And these chondric thighs again are being classified into different subclasses. So class chondric thighs is divided again into different subclasses. So subclass 1 includes the Selachi. Now, Selachi actually includes what? The sharks. Now, the common characteristic feature of these sharks is it will, what do you say, possesses the spiracle, which is present behind each eye. The gills are present, but they are present in separate clefts, and the presence of cloaca. So, this is the characteristic feature of subclass Selachi. And this subclass Selachi again has got two orders. So, what are those two orders? Order 1 is called as Pleurotremata, and order 2 is called as Hypotremata. Order 1 is Pleurotremata, and order 2 is Hypotremata. Coming to order 1. Coming to order 1. Now the order 1 is the Pleurotremata. Now the Pleurotremata includes the Scoliodon. Pleurotremata will include the Scoliodon and Stegostoma as well as the Sphyma. It includes three examples. One is called as Scoliodon. Scoliodon, nothing but commonly called as the sharks. So Scoliodon, Stegostoma as well as the Sphyma, they have 5 to 7 pairs of lateral gill slits. They possess 5 to 7 pairs of the lateral gill slits. Okay. Now the dogfish, Scoliodon actually basically commonly called as the dogfish. Dogfish. Now here the geographical distribution is, they are actually, it has got a worldwide distribution. That means it is universally distributed, found throughout the world. And the natural home of the Scoliodon, they say, actually is the sea. That is, they are present only in the sea. That is marine habitat. But some of them also live in the rivers. They are also present in the rivers. And they are predaceous as well as the voracious feeders. And it has got a spindle-shaped body, which is divided into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. The dorsal and the lateral sides of the body actually are pigmented, dark gray, while the ventral side actually is white. The head is dorsoventrally compressed and flattened into the snout. It contains ventrally situated slit-like mouth. So these are the characteristic feature of the Scoliodon, that is a dogfish. And the identification, how you can identify the dogfish is, this dogfish or the shark has raised tail. It has got a raised tail, and it has a pointed snout. So that is how you can identify the dogfish. Okay. The next example is stegostroma. These all are included as Salachi. Just now I told you, no. Now, stegostroma actually is called as a tiger shark. And this tiger shark is abundantly found in India. And it is also found in the open sea. It is also a predaceous feeder and also an active swimmer. And it is viviparous and is commonly called the tiger shark because of dark stripes with yellow background, as we see in the tiger. So that is why it is called as a tiger shark. The body is elongated and it is divided into head, trunk, and the tail with the distinct spherical and heterocircle tail. And the heterocircle tail. And the identification is, we can identify this fish by the help of the colored stripes, which is being present on the body just like a tiger. Now, next is what? Sphyma. Now, the sphyma actually is called as a hammer-headed shark. The sphyma actually is called as a hammer-headed shark. And this sphyma is found in almost all the tropical as well as the subtropical sea waters. It is found in tropical as well as the subtropical sea waters. It is adapted for deep sea waters and is a voracious feeder again. And it is elongated. The body is elongated, we can say, divisible again into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. It is also called as hammer-headed shark due to the presence of a hammer-headed head, which is again produced into two prominent lateral lobes supported by means of cartilaginous outgrowths. And the mouth is ventral in position and it is crescentic in shape. So the identification is the presence of the hammer-headed head or hammer-shaped head. So because of the presence of the what is a hammer-shaped head, we can easily identify this particular organism, which is called as a sphyma and generally called as a hammer-headed shark. Now, all these three actually are included in the Pleurotremata. So these are the three examples. One is called Scoliodon, second one is Stegostroma, and the third one is Sphyma. Now, the order 2 is Hypotremata. Now, the common characteristic feature of this Hypotremata is it actually includes depressed body and has 5 pairs of ventral gill slits. The body is depressed, and it possesses 5 pairs of ventral gill slits. Example will include race, that is torpedo, electric race, trigon, as well as the pristis. So race, trigon, as well as the pristis. Now torpedo, you all know actually that is commonly called as the electric ray. It is widely found in the Indian Ocean and it is a marine fish found on the sandy or the muddy bottom. And it is actually a carnivorous fish. It is commonly called as electric ray because of the presence of a pair of electric organ. And the whole body actually is has a brown background, which is ornamented with irregularly shaped magenta-colored spirals and the spots. The skin is very smooth and present without the scales. The mouth is transverse and it is ventrally situated and it is viviparous in nature. So that is the identification character. Now, special features of this include electric organ. That is the reason why it is called as electric ray. Now, each electric organ actually consists of hexagonal cells known as electroplexus. Now, these cells actually are filled with jelly-like fluid. They are filled with jelly-like fluid and they are arranged vertically like prisms between the upper as well as the lower surfaces. The upper surface will correspond to the anode and the lower will correspond to the cathode. So these electric organs, they are offensive as well as a defensive in nature. So we can say these electric organs possess both offensive as well as a defensive functions. So that is why whenever this particular torpedo or the electric ray want to offend itself or want to defend itself, it can easily defend, it can easily offend with the help of the presence of the electric organs. While catching the prey, or if it wants to defend from the enemies, or while it wants to go for the swimming or catching for any type of offensive as well as a defensive function, the electric organs actually will play a very, very important role. Next is what? Trigon. Now, trigon actually is commonly called stingray. Now, it has been reported again from India and Japan. It is found in the sea bottom. Again, it is carnivorous. It shows protective coloration to conceal itself from the enemies. So they say actually it shows one sort of mimicry, an adaptation to actually protect itself from the enemies. It will try to change the color. Now, and this trigon actually is commonly known as the stingray because of the presence of the sting at the base of the tail. And it also consists of kite-shaped body. The body of this is kite-shaped and it is long and long whip-like tail. So it has a kite-shaped body with a long whip-like tail. The mouth is ventral in position and it is rectangular. It is viviparous, sexually dimorphic, and the male will contain the claspers. And identification is the presence of a whip-like tail. Then you have Pristis. Now, Pristis is actually called as the sawfish, and this sawfish is found in both tropical as well as the subtropical regions. It is a warm water marine type. So, Pristis actually is basically it's a warm water fish. It is a marine type. It is a predaceous eater. It has elongated shark-like body, which is divided into head, trunk, as well as a tail. The body shape is midway between a shark as well as a ray. And the snout is anteriorly produced. The snout is anteriorly produced into a saw-like rostrum, saw-like rostrum with large and small embedded teeth. So that is why it is actually commonly called as a sawfish. And the economic importance of this is, they say the liver of this is very, very important because the liver is being, the oil is being extracted from this liver, which is called as the fish liver oil, and it is rich in vitamin. And the special features of this is saw-like snout. It possesses a saw-like snout, and which is being formed by elongation of the head as well as the skull. And the teeth actually are being fixed in the sockets. And the rostrum will act as an organ of offense as well as a defense. And the identification characteristic feature of this is fish has a saw-like toothed snout. Now, this is about the Pristis or the sawfish. So, all these actually will come under the chondrichthyes. So, they all come under the class 1 that is called as the chondrichthyes. And these chondrichthyes we have seen they have got 2 orders. Now, these 2 orders we have already mentioned. Okay. Now, coming to the class 2, that is osteichthyes. Now, osteichthyes actually include the bony fishes. Because they have a bony skeleton, they are called as the bony fishes. And the skin is present with many mucus glands with embedded bony dermal scales. So, here the scales are bony in nature, and it has got 3 superorders. It includes 3 superorders. The superorder 1 is chondrostyle, superorder 2 is holostyle, and superorder 3 is teleostyle. So, it has got 3 superorders. Now, coming to superorder 1, which is called as the chondrostyle. Now, chondrostyle again possesses 2 orders. Order 1 is called as polypteriformis and order 2 is acipenseriformis. Now, coming to order 1, that is polypteriformis and order 2 is acipenseriformis. Now, coming to order 1, polypteriformis. Now, polypteriformis actually includes a slender body. It possesses a thick ganoid scales as well as the rhombus scales. Example for this is Polypterus. Example is Polypterus. Now, Polypterus actually is restricted only to the tropical Africa, Nile, Nigeria, as well as the Congo. And it is actually basically found in the seawater. It feeds on small crustaceans as well as the small fish. And it is the most primitive bony fish which is living. Body is elongated, cylindrical, as well as covered with the rhomboid scales or the ganoid scales. And here the dorsal fin consists of a series of 5 to 8 isolated finlets. And it also possesses a pair of air bladders, which actually function as the lungs. Intestine is with the spiral valve, and the larva will possess the plume-like external gills resembling the gills of the amphibian larva. So this is about the polypterus. Now, special features are it shows the combination of the primitive as well as the advanced characters. It shows the combination of both primitive as well as the advanced characters. Now, primitive characters are presence of non-overlapping scales, spiracle as well as the spiral valve, which is present in the intestine. Whereas it also possesses advanced features like the presence of the pyloric cecum in the gut and also the urinogenital system. So these are the advanced characters. Now coming to the order 2, that is acipenseriformis. Now the acipenseriformis actually will include the long or paddle-shaped snout is being present, and it also possesses 8 rows of bony ganoid scales. It possesses 8 rows of bony ganoid scales. Now, the best example for this is Accipenser, which is commonly called as sturgeon. Commonly called as sturgeon, and this sturgeon actually is distributed in the Black Sea, and it is also found in the rivers of Europe. Now, Accipenser actually is a bottom-dwelling marine fish. It is a bottom-dwelling marine fish. They feed on small invertebrates, small fishes, as well as the aquatic plants. And they are migratory fishes. They are anadromous in nature. That is, they ascend from the rivers to the sea for spawning. And its body is actually again divided into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. And in the body, the scales are present, and these scales are being represented by 5 longitudinal rows of bony scutes. And each bony scutes on the other, you can say, plate. Now, each plate is being provided with a pointed as well as partly conical and backwardly directed spine. The head is produced as a long flattened rostrum, which is provided with well-developed 4 ventral barbels, and it has a well-developed swim bladder. So that is about the Accipenser. Now, economic importance of Accipenser is actually it is basically used to prepare isinglass. Now, this isinglass actually is meant for cleaning the wines. It is meant for cleaning the wines. And the black eggs of sturgeons are also used to prepare a delicacy, which is called as caviar. So that is why it has got economic importance also. And Accipenser will exhibit both primitive as well as advanced characters. Now, the primitive characters are presence of the open spiracles, heterocircle tail, as well as the spiral valve in the intestine. And loss of bone shows a secondary character. So that is about the special features. And identification, you can easily identify this Accipenser with the presence of 5 rows of bony scutes or 5 rows of bony plates. Now, superorder 2, that is called as Holiostyi. Now, Holiostyi actually it is in between two, that is Condyxtyi as well as a Teleostyi fishes. So actually it is included between the Condyxtyi as well as Holiostyi. Just now I have told you it has 3 superorders. The first superorder is just now we have seen is Condyxtyi. Second superorder is Holiostyi. So they say that this Holiostyi actually is intermediate between the Condyxtyi as well as the Teleostyi fishes, and it has got 2 orders. First order is called as Amyliformes, and the second order you call it as Lepidostiformes. Now, coming to the Amyliformes, the Amyliformes actually will include long dorsal fin and overlapping cycloid scales. Example, it includes this Amia, that is also called bowfin. Now, it is found in rivers as well as the lakes of Central and Southern America. And habitat, it is a freshwater and it is a carnivorous fish. It feeds on the crustaceans, insects, as well as the small fishes. The shape of the body is fusiform, and same like all other fishes, it is divided into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. The dorsal fin is long and it is continuous for greater part of the trunk as well as the tail. Air bladder is present and it is basically used as a lung. And the fishes, these can breathe through atmospheric air, and it is sexually dimorphic. Females are larger than males, and the male is provided with a rounded black at the base of caudal fin. Rounded black spot at the base of the caudal fin. Now, the special features includes it is the only living species. It is the only one living species, and it shows combination of both same, the primitive as well as advanced characters. So the primitive characters include the vestigial spiral valve, and the advanced character will include the presence of thin cycloid scales without the genoid. So next identification characters you can easily identify is by the presence of the continuous dorsal fin. So here the dorsal fin is continuous starting from the trunk region till the tail region. So that is how you can identify the fish. Now coming to the order 2, that is Lepidostiformis. Now in the Lepidostiformis characters are it has an elongated snout, and the body is present with genoid as well as a rhomboid scales present in the oblique rows. Now, best example for this is Lepidosteus. It includes the Lepidosteus, which is also called as garpite. It is also called as garpite. It is distributed in USA, that is United States of America. It is found in a freshwater rivers, and it feeds on small fishes, and its head is produced into the snout. Both the jaws are elongated. That is, both upper jaw as well as the lower jaw are elongated. They are covered with thick, hard, as well as the rhomboid scales. And the air bladder actually is being used as the lung. Now, coming to economic importance, even it has got, Lepidosteus has got economic importance. Both the scales as well as the skin of this fish, they are used in the making of handbags as well as in the other arts. Special features include both primitive as well as advanced characters. Primitive features are the presence of cellular air bladder, genuine coated scales, and advanced features will include the pyloric ceca, which is branched. The identification is, you can easily identify this fish with the help of the presence of toothed jaws as well as the posterior dorsal fin. So this is about the Lepidosteus, so which comes under superorder Condistae. Now coming order second superorder. Now coming to the superorder 3, that is Teleostae. Now the common characters of these Teleostae include light bony skeleton and hydrostatic swim bladder. So it possesses light bony skeleton and the swim bladder. It possesses a swim bladder which is hydrostatic in nature and which is very useful in the swimming. And it has got 9 orders. This particular superorder possesses 9 orders, and these are the most commonly available fish. Most of the fishes are edible. Teleostae fishes are edible, and they are actually grouped under different 9 orders. Now we'll see the orders now. Order 1 actually is Isospondyli. Second one is Osteophysi. Third one is Ophiocephaliformis. Fourth one is Apodus. Then fifth one is Sanentognathi. Then sixth is Solenichthyes. Then you have order 7, which is called Percomorphi. Order 8 is Discocephali. And order 9 is Dipnoi. Coming to the order 1. Order 1 actually will include silvery marine fish with cycloid scales as well as homocircle tail. And the example for this is salmon fish, and which is commonly called as trout. It is distributed in the fresh water as well as the marine water of the North America. Now coming to the habitat of this fish, they are famous for their beauty. So the salmon fish actually for their beauty and migratory habit. And the young one will migrate to the sea and they mature in the sea from 2 to 8 years of age, and then they will return to fresh water. And they have got a spindle-shaped body divided into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. The tail is homocircle, and the air bladder actually has an open duct to the pharynx. And coming to the economic importance, they are much prized for food as well as the game. So they are used both for the gaming purpose and also as the for food purpose. And the characteristic feature identification character is the presence of adipose fin. The presence of an adipose fin. Now coming to order 2, which is called as Osteophysi. Now the Osteophysi, here in this case, the air bladder will communicate to the pharynx. That means it will communicate to the pharynx, means it has a link with the pharynx. Example is Clarius. Now the Clarius actually is present in South Africa and north of Northern Africa, Europe, Middle East, as well as in parts of Asia. It is a tropical fish, freshwater fish, pelagic, benthic, present in lakes and ponds, rivers, as well as streams, temporary pools, brackish water. It is trout. Okay, and it is potamodromous, means migrating within the streams as well as the rivers, and it is adaptive to extreme environmental conditions and can live in pH range of 6.5 to 8. So we can say that these are hardy fishes. So they can survive any environmental condition, and they are the bottom dwellers and they feed there, and they are obligate air breathers, and one of the last species to inhabit places with poorly oxygenated water. So it secretes mucus that prevents them from drying and also allows burrowing in the muddy surface. Now the economic importance of these fishes, it helps in fisheries as well as in the fish culture, and this fish is also edible. And identification is it has got a sharp tooth, and they are commonly called as catfishes. It has a sharp tooth catfish. Now coming to order 3, which is called as Ophiocephaliformis. Now, Ophiocephaliformis actually include snake-headed fish. So they have got a snake-like head, and they have an accessory respiratory organs. Example is Ophiocephalus, which is commonly called chana. Now, that is Ophiocephalus punctatus or chana punctatus. They are called snake-headed fish, and it is generally found in India. They are found in freshwater ponds. They are able to survive drought in semi-fluid or beneath dry mud, and they have an accessory bronchial cavity for aerial breathing. Aerial breathing, and the body is divided into the head, trunk, as well as the tail. So, like like Clarius, this fish is also hardy in nature. The dorsal fin as well as the anal fin are very long. Air bladder is also very long. Economic importance is they are eaten. That is, it is one of the most important edible food, and it is highly costly also. And the flesh is being used to cure the ulcers. Okay, and the special features is it can breathe the atmospheric air due to the presence of suprabranchial cavity. And identification character is nothing but presence of a snake-headed fish. Now, order 4 includes apods. Now, apods' common feature is it has got a long and a slender body. It includes anguilla, eel. Okay, so it is also called as eel fish. It is widely distributed in India, and it is a catadromous fish. It can live several hours out of the water, and here the body is elongated, slender, and also snake-like, and the pelvic fins are totally absent. And special features are it has got peculiar breeding habits. Breeding habits, and both the American as well as the European eels are very, very long, about 60 centimeter, and they became sexually mature. So identification character is nothing but presence of a snake-like body. Next, order 5. Now, order 5 is Cynantognathi. Cynantognathi, here the pectoral fin is very, very large, and it is high on the body. It includes Exocetus, which is commonly called as flying fish. It is found in the Indian Ocean. It is a pelagic fish. It feeds on small fishes. The pectoral fins actually are exceptionally very, very large, and they are spread like wings, and they make the gliding flights. So these pectoral fin only help them to glide. So that is why they are called as the flying fish. And the pelvic fins actually are developed, and they are adapted for lifting the body. And it also serves as a foot. And special features is it's not actually a true flying fish, but it can take a glide because of the enlarged pectoral fin. And the fish can glide over the water surface up to 400 meters. And identification character is nothing but presence of large pectoral fin. Now, order 6 is Solenic thighs. Now, the common characters of this, it includes a tubular snout with suctorial mouth and bony rings or protective scales on the body. With the protective scales on the body. Now, it includes the seahorse as well as the pipefish. Now, seahorse as well as the pipefish are included in this particular order. Now, coming to the pipefish, that is the Syngrathus. Now, the Syngrathus actually will include, is called as the pipefish. It is commonly distributed in Indian Ocean, found in marine as well as the brackish water. It is that body is compressed and elongated, and it is covered by ring-like exoskeleton bands, and the body is divided same as with other fishes into head, trunk, as well as the tail. Mouth is suctorial, toothless, and lies at the end of the snout. And the males are provided with brood pouch on the ventral side of the abdomen, which is being formed by the fold of the skin. And here the fish swims in the vertical position. The special features include the young ones actually will develop in the brood pouch till they hatch. And the identification character is the fish has a pipe-like body. Next is what hippocampus, which is commonly called as a seahorse, and it has got a cosmopolitan distribution, means found throughout the world. It is found throughout the world. Now the seahorse actually swims upright, holding a weed with their tail. And why it is called as a seahorse or hippocampus? It has got a the head actually looks like a horse, so that is why it is called as a hippocampus, horse-like. So hippocampus is commonly called as seahorse because the anterior end actually is shaped like the neck and head of a horse, and the body is covered by means of rigid exoskeleton armor of ring-like bony plates. The males contain again the brood pouches which carry the eggs until they hatch. The tail is prehensile tail. Special features is it is a vertically swimming fish, and identification character is nothing but the presence of a horseshoe-shaped head as well as the snout. Now coming to order 7. Order 7 includes Percomorphi. Now Percomorphi actually here it has a preceded dorsal as well as the anal fin, and the air bladder is present without the duct. Example, Anabas. It includes Anabas, which is commonly called as a climbing perch. It is widely distributed in India. It is a freshwater fish. It can live out of water for a longer duration. Males exhibit parental care, and the body of fish actually is being covered by cycloid scales. It is exceptional. So only cycloid scales are seen in this, and it's divided into head, trunk, and tail. And they have accessory respiratory organs, and it has got two chambers, one on each side of the head, that contain the concentrically arranged wavy plates. And the plates are covered with vascular membrane. Special characteristic feature is it is able to walk on land by means of spines in search of food. And it cannot climb the tree, though it is known as the climbing perch. So this is about the anabas. Now coming to the order 8. Now the order 8 actually includes the discocephali. Now discocephali, here the dorsal fin is being modified into oval flat adhesive disc, which is present on the upper surface of the head. It includes echines, which is called as a suckerfish. Now suckerfish, basically why it is called as suckerfish actually is nothing but the presence of an adhesive disc. Now it is widely distributed in Indian Ocean, common marine fish. It feeds on small fishes. It attaches itself to the substratum or any object by means of an adhesive disc, to marine animals also. And the sucking disc actually is found or present in the head. And this disc actually develops into a spinous dorsal fin. Now, the special features of this is the sucker fishes are employed to catch the turtles. So, because of the presence of the sucker, now this sucker actually, and it is also adhesive in nature, because of this, it can easily catch the turtles. It can easily catch the turtles. And but it is a very lazy fish. It usually remains firmly attached to the vertebrate animals. And identification character is nothing but the sucking disc or the adhesive disc is being present, or sucker is being present on the head region. Order 9 is the dipnoi, that is lungfishes, which are present with a diffy circle tail. Now, why they are called as dipnoi, they are called as lungfishes is because apart from the gills, they also have lungs which help them in the breathing. So they are commonly called as lungfishes. And these lungfishes actually are of three types. They are Protopterus, Lepidosiren, as well as the Neoceratodus. Now coming to the Protopterus, which is an African lungfish. Now the African lungfish, it is commonly called African lungfish because it is found only in the African continent, and they live in burrows made in the muddy water, and during estivation, they retire to the vertical burrows in the mud lined with mucus. The pectoral and pelvic fins are reduced to appendages as well as fin rays, and they have two lungs. And the larva will contain 4 pairs of external gills. Special feature is it is an air-breathing fish, and it shows the combination of specialized as well as a primitive character. Identification is fish possesses the slender modified appendages. Now the next one is Lepidosiren paradoxa, which is called American lungfish. Why it is called American lungfish? Means it is found only in the Amazon rivers and plains of South America, and it lives in swampy places. It makes a burrow, and it makes a burrow lined by means of the mucus in the muddy water, and also it excavates in the burrows during the dry season. The special features of this is it shows parental care, forming L-shaped nest, and forming the L-shaped nest. And here it possesses both the primitive as well as the the advanced characters. Now the identification characteristics, it possesses reduced styli, which is formed of or which consists of the paired appendages. The next is what Neoceratodus. Now the Neoceratodus actually is called as the Australian lungfish. Now the Australian lungfish is actually found in the Burette as well as in many rivers of Australia. So that is the reason why it is called as Australian lungfish. So we have African lungfish, American lungfish, as well as the Australian lungfish. So they are named so. Why? Because they are found only in that particular region. So in general, we have got 3 types of lungfishes. So Neoceratodus is called as Australian lungfish because it is found only in the Australia. And these fishes actually it will rise to the surface to engulf the fresh air into the lungs. And it feeds on small animals, and it does not estivate. And the tail is diffy circle, and the paired fins are leaf-like or they are paddle-like, and their single lung is present. It possesses only 1 lung. And the Neoceratodus possesses the special features. The special feature actually is nothing but it is the only living species. It is the only living species and is considered as a living fossil. It is considered as a living fossil, and it has got the paired fins, and these paired fins are modified into paddles. Like Protopterus as well as the Lepidosiren, this fish also presents of the same primitive as well as advanced characters. And the identification character of this fish is it possesses paddle-like paired appendages. It possesses paddle-like paired appendages. So this is all about the classification of the fishes. So we all know fishes belongs to phylum Chordata, subphylum Vertebrata. It is divided into two subclasses, that is chondrichthyes as well as osteichthyes. Now, chondrichthyes are called cartilaginous fishes. Osteichthyes are called as the bony fishes. Class chondrichthyes. Chondrichthyes will include two orders, whereas class osteichthyes actually has got three super orders. Now, the super order chondrichthyes as well as the Holostein again has got two orders each, and the super order Teleostei actually has got 9 orders. So thus this class, that is osteichthyes, has more orders than the chondrichthyes. So this is all about the classification as well as the general characters of the fishes. Okay, now we will end the class.